What's up, guys? Just got done watching Gathman, his contest response to Josh Johnson's contest, and I hate to see my friends go through that. So I think it's time I do mine. You know, I've been putting it off, and I think it's time. By this time, you guys know all the rules and whatnot in Josh's contest, and 10-minute video, which easily gonna do that. Hardships you've dealt with, how you get over them, music you listen to help, if it helps, and your favorite wrestler. So I'm gonna get into this. I was born in 1991. And shortly after I was born, my mom developed cancer in her uterus. They caught it very early, and she was lucky enough to get surgery and got her uterus removed early enough to where they can catch and get it out of her. My mom is my best friend. I can fully say that I'm a mama's boy. And anytime anything is wrong with her, it really just kind of eats me up. I don't like seeing her, you know, you don't want to see your family going through anything. So anytime that happens, it's just scary. And then, I want to say, 5 years ago, she was having problems with her going to the bathroom through her colon, and she went back to the doctors, and they found polyps with cancer cells inside her rectum. And they again caught it early. She got surgery to get all the polyps removed, and she was good. But now, because of that, she has to get routine checkups every, I think, 3 years. Every 2 or 3 years she has to go, which she has to go next week for one. And what they do, they pretty much shove a tube up your ass, and they blow air to expand your asshole. It's a weird surgery, but it works. And after the surgeries, or the surgery, whenever the procedure's done, you fart a lot. So, you know, she's sitting in the recovery room, and I'm sitting there with her, she's just farting away, and I'm sitting there like, oh my god, this is too funny. So, it's kind of funny, but it's not funny at the same time. You know, it's a scary thing, and, you know, I've already had to get tested for it just because it's, you know, it's cancer twice already with my mom, and they want to monitor me just to be safe, and it's not fun. So that's one thing. When I was 4 years old, my parents got a divorce. My dad cheated on my mom with the town whore, as we called her. And because I was 4, that was 1995, and he moved a couple streets away, moved in with this floozy. They had 2 kids, and in 1997, I think it was, I was 6, he just disappeared. We went over his house every other Saturday. We showed up at his house, and his house was completely locked up. Nothing was in the house. It was completely empty. And we didn't know where he was for a few months at a time. And I think it was about 5 or 6 months later, we found out that he moved to Missouri. And that's all she wrote. I haven't seen my dad since 1997. You know, I'll be 24 in 10 days. So that's 18 years already. 18 years I haven't seen my dad, and, I just really have no desire, because, I've been without a dad my whole life, and, it just kind of sucked when I was a little kid, and I'd see all my friends, I'd be at baseball practice or football, and, all my friends would be with their dads, showing them what to do, and I'd just be over there with my mom. It sucked. It sucked so much. And, me and my dad are on talking terms. We're on talking terms now because of a certain subject I'll be getting to later. But it's been rough. And then I've been bullied my whole life. From kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade. I was always the fat kid. Picked last in gym class cliche, that was me. I was just picked on my entire life, and then in high school, I was getting picked on again, and finally I just had enough of it, and I stood up, and this kid was calling me fat. He was making a fool of me in front of a bunch of people. And I just beat the shit out of him. It felt great, because I hated the kid to begin with. And I made a lot of friends after that. It's sad that I made friends after I did something that I wasn't proud of. But I finally stood up to myself. And people stopped messing with me. It's just sad that it comes to that point that you have to turn to violence to get respect. And, I'm not a violent person, and it's just that really, when I finally realized, this is bullshit, that I'm getting friends because of what I did. Because people can say, oh, well, no, they became friends with you because you stood up for yourself, you're a noble person. But all I ever heard was, oh, we can't believe you, we're so happy you beat the crap out of that kid. We don't like that kid either. It's like, that's besides the point. It just really sucked that I made friends because I hurt somebody. And, it's just, even still, I'm almost 24 years old, and I still deal with people who call me fat, and be like, oh, you need to lose weight, What are you going to do when you're 50? Yeah, you think I don't know this? I wake up in the morning, you don't think I'm fat? You don't think that I know that I'm a big guy? I know. I know I'm a big dude. It has its advantages, though. And, high school got a little bit better after that, but, it was getting better, but then I kind of started going down the wrong path. I was hanging out with the wrong people. And in 2008, I have a very small family. It's me, my mom, my sister, my grandma, my cousin, and then my aunt and uncle. My uncle developed Alzheimer's. He's, he can't do anything. It hurts to say, but he's a vegetable. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't get out of bed. He's just there. He's an inanimate object pretty much now. He doesn't do it. He's like this lamp that's sitting here. But in 2008, my aunt, she was a heavy smoker. She drank a lot. She never went to the doctor. She never went to the dentist. She was a very extremely independent person, and she was a borderline genius. She skipped 6th grade for how smart she was. She became a biochemist and was working for major big chemical companies, and she was making that dough. She was making a lot of it, and she would visit my uncle every other day in the nursing home. She just, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, every other day. And she went to go visit him one day, and the nurse said she wasn't looking too good. She was, are you okay? And of course my aunt said she was. My aunt never got help from anybody, ever. So they just let her go. She went to go visit my uncle, and she dropped dead in 15 minutes. From the time she walked in the door till the nurse came back into his room. She died of a massive heart attack at the age of 53. We still really can't believe it, because it was just instant. And, she loved her husband. She loved he wasn't my blood uncle. She married him after she had my cousin. But she loved my uncle, and she died next to him. It's unfortunate the way it happened, but that gives us a little bit of closure with it. It's still, my cousin, she's such a loner now, and I try to do so much with her, as much as I can, because I already see it. She's exactly like my aunt. And it sucks, because I don't want to deal with that again in 20 years, essentially. And, I try to stay grounded with my family and look out for them as best I can. And after my aunt died, I really, really went down the wrong path. I just didn't care about anything. My grades started slipping. My grades were bad in the beginning of high school. They got better my sophomore and junior year, and then senior year I had severe senioritis, and I did not care. I was a bad person. I was an asshole. And I can wholeheartedly say that. I was a dick. I treated people like shit. Everything that I'm saying that, I looked out for everybody was completely gone in 2008, 2009, 2010. I didn't care about anybody but myself, and I was an extremely selfish person. And I was doing things that I shouldn't have been doing. You could I'll let you guys wonder. But I was with the wrong people doing illegal things. And one day in early 2010, I was out with a buddy of mine, and I got into some trouble, and I ended up getting arrested. And, I didn't really care. I was just like, whatever. This happens. And I got taken to the station. I was held on bail for, I'm not going to say what I did, what everything was. But I had to call my mom. And because I was the only person I knew that I could have called. And I called her cell phone when she was at work. And my mom never takes her cell phone to the bathroom. Ever. And for whatever reason, that day, she did. And I called her when she was on her way to the bathroom. And that was hands down the hardest phone call I've ever had to do. Because, my mom my mom has done everything she can to make sure that, I live well, that I'm raised well. She did everything she could to make sure that I grew up to be a good person, and I completely took that for granted. And I broke her heart. That was the hardest. That was the worst thing I've ever done to my family. Was what I did. And I didn't really know how to deal with it. I stumbled across a band called For Today. And they're They're very religious, and I wasn't a very religious person, and I'm still not. And for whatever reason, I just grabbed onto them. And they helped me get through those few months of my arrest leading up to the court date and everything. What I did, it was punishable with a maximum of a year in prison. And I got off with probation. And I've never been so grateful in my life. I'm still embarrassed to this day by it. Word got out about what I did, and everybody in my city found out about it, and everyone looked at me different. I lost a lot of friends. But, I just did what I could to get through it. And I got through probation. I did my community service. I paid all my fines, all out of my own pocket. I did everything. I would not let my mom help me with that. I would not. Because it was not fair for her to do that. She bailed me out, and I paid her back every single dime that she spent on me with that situation. Every single penny of it. Because that was not fair for her. But like I said, I got off with probation. In my community service, I did all that. I got my ass into school. Because that was really the only place that I could really do anything. It was tough to find work. Because it was so, soon. So I was in the admissions office, and they're like, what do you want to do? And I told them, I screwed up in my life. I kind of want to do something that I could make a difference, and I got into criminal justice. And I loved college. I took full advantage of it. And about a year into my schooling, I had psychology, which was the hardest course in the entire college. I had terrorism, counterterrorism, which was another very, very hard subject. I had jails and probationary, which was another tough subject. It was easily the hardest quarter of my life. And about halfway through it, halfway through school, we got news that my sister got pregnant with my niece in late 2011, and I didn't like her boyfriend. I didn't hate him yet, but I did not like him. And she had the baby in September, my niece, and November 5th, I still remember that day, November 5th of 2012, I'm going to backtrack a little before I get to that. During my sister's pregnancy, she developed epilepsy. She had 8 seizures during her pregnancy. The last one she had 3 weeks before her due date in her apartment. And my sister's boyfriend, who was the father, was out driving his drunk neighbor around. So that really kind of set me off. And, my sister moved back home. She left him. We took care of the baby. And November 5th of 2012, we got a knock on our front door. And it was 2 policemen. And they said they had emergency custody papers through her father that his daughter, my niece, is in an unsafe home because of my sister's epilepsy. My sister was never left alone. There was always somebody here monitoring her, watching the kid. And, she was, like I said, she was never alone. And we don't know how he did it. He filed papers for this emergency custody. Child Services never got involved. Me and Mike are on the same subject that Child Services are an absolute fucking joke. And we didn't really know what to do, so we called my mom. And she rushed home. And, we couldn't really do anything, so we started packing up my niece. And, my mom pulls into the driveway, and as she gets out of the car, the cop walks out of my side door, carrying the baby carrier with my niece in it. And my mom just let out this scream. And the only thing I could really say that it reminds me of is, if any of you have seen the horror movie Scream, the beginning scene when Drew Barrymore's getting chased around the house and the parents come home and the father tells his wife to go down to the neighbor's house, and the mom steps out of the house and she sees her daughter from the tree and she lets out that scream. It was that scene to a T. It was the most helpless scream I have ever heard. And when that happened, I just snapped. Nearly got arrested again. Long story short, of course, we took him to court, and he didn't show up for 3 straight. He eventually gave us shared custody. He allowed us to see her. And he eventually missed 3 straight court dates. And after the 3rd time, they just said, well, since he really doesn't care about his daughter, here you go, here's full custody. And we've had her ever since, and I could not be happier. I love that little girl like she's mine. And then with all that, I grew a strong hate for my niece's father. And, I thought I hated my father. The hate that was directed towards my niece's father, and still is. If my dad would walk through my front door today, I would probably give him a hug. It is that extreme that if I ever see my niece's father again, I don't know what I would do, because he completely destroyed my family. And with all that, I developed serious anger issues. I made a lot of enemies the last few years because of it. And even to this day, I still have really bad temper flares where I just snap on people. And I've not recently, it's been like almost a year, I found a way to, not really cope, but found a way to deal with all of it. And my anger outbursts are at an extreme minimum now, thankfully. Because like I said, 2012, 13, and mostly 2012 and 13, I was just an extremely angry person. And, like I said, I made a lot of enemies because of it, because I would just snap on people. I've lost jobs because of it. But I have a strong harness on it now, thankfully. As like I said, sometimes, you're going to have a bad day, and I just go to the gym and I just hit the bag a little anymore, or I just sit down and I just throw some headphones on and listen to my favorite tunes. It's just the way I deal with it, some people choose therapy and talk to somebody, and I would rather not. I did talk to people about it, but I'm not going to go to weekly sessions because of it, and they cost a fortune too. So, I have my ways of dealing with it, and it's working a lot, and I have never been happier in my entire life. And I hope this continues, and I'm so excited for Nationals. I am so excited to get to meet up with everybody again. Life's been very, very good. And then the last thing, it kind of was a bad thing. I was stressed out about it. My tripod guys know about it. On Halloween last year in 2014, I was at a doctor's appointment, and they did blood work. And they found out that I have a liver complication. Now, it's accumulated from, being a bigger guy my whole life. And I wasn't a heavy drinker, but I drank a lot. When I did drink, I drank a lot. And that carried over to it. And they said, you got to change your diet, work out, drink less. Since then, I have completely stopped drinking. I have had, I've had maybe 2 beers since Halloween. And then I had 2 shots for my friend who passed away in January of this year. But I've completely stopped drinking. I'm pretty much straight edge. I don't claim it because I don't like labels, but I don't drink anymore. So sorry if you guys were looking forward to getting trashed with me at Nationals again this year, like last year, because last year I was trashed almost every single night. But I've stopped drinking, I'm eating better, I'm working out 3 days a week. Life's very good right now, and I hope it doesn't stop. Now, what drives me, obviously, I told you guys earlier, I got a degree in criminal justice. I went almost a year without a job, and in January of last year, I got a job with the Cleveland Indians, and I love it. I've never loved a job until I started working with the Cleveland Indians, and I love my job. I absolutely love it. If it's not the Browns, the Indians are a close second, extremely close second, and anymore with all the moves that we're making with the Browns, the Indians are on top. Browns can just, they make me mad. But I absolutely love my job. I can't wait I'm working tomorrow night a second shift, and I haven't worked a second shift in so long, and I love second shift. I love my job. I just want full-time. I'm like the most full-time part-timer. Like, I get full-time hours, but I don't get the benefits that the full-timers get. But I love my job. I really, really love my job. I can't say that enough. That's really what drives me and my niece. I want to make sure my niece has the best life possible. And my friends, I have the best friends anybody could ever ask for. YouTube and off of YouTube. My show, I go to a lot of metal shows, and my show friends they're literally family that I never got. I love my show family. And then my YouTube family, man. My YouTube family I pretty much consider family too. Ben and Zach and Mickey and Mike and just Dave and I love you guys, man. I truly love you guys. I can't wait. I want you guys all to come to Nationals. Oh my God, I can't wait for that, man. So yeah, everyone's just drives me. I want to make myself as best I can be, and I'm striving for it. I'm striving to be a good person. I'm striving to succeed, and it's working finally. So that's that. Music, like Mike, I listen to a lot of angry music. Some good, some really, really bad music. The whole satanic stuff and whatnot. There's some of it's in there, but it's because I love music. I've played music my whole life. And some of my favorites, just to name names, Parkway Drive. I've listened to Parkway Drive since their beginning days. And I have a giant, like, 8-foot poster over there that I stole from Warped Tour off the stage that they don't know about. But Parkway Drive was easily my all-time favorite. Anytime they come to Cleveland, I'm pretty much in tears, because that band has just helped me so much in life. And they always close their set with a song called Carrion. And in the beginning of the song, everyone yells Carrion, because it's what happens in the song. And the last time I saw them at Warped Tour this past year, that was the loudest I've ever heard it, and I just got chills all over my body, because it's just, I love Parkway Drive. Another band is Gideon. They're an Alabama hardcore band. They're extremely positive, and I love them. MyChildren MyBride, another extremely positive band who I've never seen, who I'm going to see this year, because they're coming to either Toledo or Columbus, and I'm taking the drive. Because I've listened to them for 6 years, and I've never seen them, and they're one of the only bands I haven't seen. So that's a goal for this year. And then the Ghosts Inside, who I have seen, 15 times, at least. They're awesome. They're one of the best live bands ever. I'll try and throw links down there if I can. I may have to do it through my computer. And finally, my favorite wrestlers growing up. I can say I am foolproof WCW. That was my thing. I wasn't a big WWF guy. My favorite guys were DDP and Sting. I know Sting is in WWE now, and I absolutely hate it. It just took a dump on my childhood. And there's so many other guys that I love. I loved Scott Hall, Buff Bagwell. I was a huge fan of Buff Bagwell, and I have no clue why. Bam Bam Bigelow, Scotty Riggs. I love the cruiserweights, old school Billy Kidman with the denim shorts and the yellow wife beater. Shout out to Ray Rice. Blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg was awesome. I loved Blitzkrieg. Raven's Flock. Oh my god, Raven's Flock. The Four Horsemen with Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, and Arn Anderson. Obviously, Ric Flair. I can go on and on about WCW. And WWE, WWF, whatever you want to call it. Stone Cold. Obviously. I love Stone Cold. I was extremely partial to Too Cool. Scotty 2 Hotty, Grandmaster Sexy, and Rikishi. When I played baseball, my baseball team called me Stotty 2 Hotty. That's partially where I got Stotty Boy from. But they called me Stotty 2 Hotty for whatever reason. And now I look like Big Show when I got the shaved head and everything. But that's it. That's my contest response. You got to see me bawl like a baby on here. But I feel a lot better now that I got all this off my chest. And I'm very reserved. I don't like to talk about the things I've done wrong in the past. And you guys